Enough is enough. They say choose our battles, but once somebody has chosen to battle us, we have now chosen our battle. Welcome to Alliance Against Communism, where people of traditional faith come together to defeat a common enemy. Communists have to destroy what is called the Four O's to implement communism: traditional custom, culture, habits, and ideas. We of AAC will use traditional custom, culture, habits, and ideas to destroy these godless bastards wherever they are. Moral subversion is done. Their time is up. It's time to fight back. Let's take the fight to them together. Join us today as we fight the good fight. If you are too afraid to tell the truth, they already won.
Welcome to AAC, Alliance Against Communism. This is episode number 3, and we're going to talk about tribalism and barbarianism, tribal cultures, barbaric cultures, and civilized people. And we're going to talk about the difference between them. And like I said, I'd like to thank you for all the shares and all the comments and all the follows. I really appreciate it, and I really like to see your comments, and I love to interact with you guys. And I hope that you guys benefit from this lecture, or I don't want to call it lecture, I would call it more of a talk.
Yeah, it's more of a candid conversation.
Yeah, just a conversation that we believe the country should be having. So we're going to talk about tribalism, and I have the formal definition of tribalism from Ron Newby. And the formal definition consisting of families and communities linked by social, economic, religious, or blood ties with a common culture and dialect, typically having a recognized leader, unquote. So basically, being tribal is basically being human. It's part of the human condition. And I think there's good things about tribalism and bad things about tribalism. Can you, Eric, you want to talk about some things that are bad when it comes to tribalism?
I would see it more of a racism thing. And I look at racism more as like hatred. Bigotry is a whole different topic. But in terms of it being bad, like what's going on in society today between black and white, keeping us tribalistic is a Marxist ideology. If you keep us tribal, it's instead of uniting us, it's finding a way to divide us. And I think that the biggest thing, the underlying thing with the problems with it would be dividing the country, because black and whites don't necessarily, and it's not even black and white, it could be whoever it is. It could be different European cultures or whatever. What we need to do is we need to find the things that unite, the things that bring us together, opposed to the things that divide us.
Unfortunately, leftists are doing everything to divide us. And like there's always going to be division between us, and there's always going to be, mistrust, and there's never going to be a perfect harmony. To think that there's going to be a perfect harmony between the cultures and the races, I think is a ludicrous idea. I think it's unrealistic.
Yeah, the concept of diversity as our strength is a misnomer.
Yeah, I really don't agree with it. I say, like I said, America, is many cultures to one. But like I said, to believe that we're going to live in a bigoted, free, racist-free place it's just like, I think it's just a dream. It will never happen. Like I said, they talk about, like, I think we can, stop systemic racism. I don't like to use that word, but that's what these Black Lives Matter people always use. But like, we can stop systemic racism, but there's always going to be racism and bigotry between people, and it's never gonna stop. So I think we should stop believing that racism will end and that bigotry will end. I don't think it will ever end, because human beings are inherently tribalistic, and that's just being part human. I think it just will never go away.
Well, yeah. Well, with you saying bad, now we're almost like leaning into the good, because we can kind of whitewash the two. But bad would be, say, statistics that we have on interracial crime between black on white or white on black. That could be a great example of the problems, the sinister actions of this whole tribalistic thing. I mean, we have, for instances, where if you see a white person being attacked by a black person, if the black person is getting the upper hand, no one gets in the middle. I've actually seen this before. And then when the white person starts getting the upper hand, black people jump in.
I saw a video of basically two white guys in a black neighborhood being attacked by black people. And what I did is I realistically looked at the video, and I didn't try to make my own opinion. I just looked at the video for what it is and try to get, my mind out of, this whole anti-racist, this whole, equity bullshit they're talking about. And what I saw in the video, honestly, what I saw in the video is two white men were being attacked by black men. And as soon as they started to defend themselves, other black people came just out of nowhere and started beating the crap out of the white people just because they were white.
Yeah, that's a great example.
And nobody called the police. Nobody came to help. And all they were doing is beating the white people up, and the white people couldn't do anything. Because if they did something, more black people would come, just out of just tribalism.
So the whites weren't allowed to defend themselves.
Yes, they could. The fact that they did defend themselves, other black people came in and beat the hell out of them because they were defending themselves, because black people were tribal in that instance. So what I took away from that situation, it was the best thing you can do if you're a white person, you're being attacked by black men in a black neighborhood, is just to run. Because nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to call the police, most likely. It's not going to happen.
Well, you almost have to ask the question, what are two white guys doing in a black neighborhood?
I mean, the bottom line is, like, you can talk all the crap that you want to talk about how you're so not racist, and all these congresswomen, they all talk about how they're not racist. Then let them go into a ghetto and let them walk through the street and see if they'll do it, and they'll see how anti-racist they are.
Absolutely. Like when I was buying houses on the east side over in looking at houses in East Point or Roseville or Harper Woods, I was actually warned by a woman next door to one of the houses that I was walking, and told me not to buy the house because of my race.
My goodness. See, the problem is that, like if a white person walks through a black community, let's just be honest, they would probably be attacked and harassed, or something would happen to them. Let's just be honest, in a really bad community, right? But if a black person walks in a white community and he doesn't belong there, if a white person says anything, he's immediately racist because he's going after a black person. It's just not. What if it could just be the fact that this guy doesn't belong in this neighborhood, and he might be looking like a thug, and like all you can do is use the information at hand. Like there's a guy who's walking down my street who doesn't belong here. I've never seen him before. He's looking like a thug, and if you just use the information at hand and you do anything, you're a racist.
Yeah, well, they're doing that to police. When police are going into these neighborhoods because they're getting a call, and then they're going off and they're saying, well, you're racially profiling this person. Well, just like Chris said, you don't know what this person's intentions were. Why is this person in the neighborhood to begin with? And it goes to the whole thing that we're talking about right now in terms of tribalism, is it could be both ways.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And when I was, for example, with the racial profiling, like I don't think that we should just like profile somebody on race, but there is common sense to some type of racial profiling. For example, before I was in law enforcement, I wanted to ride along in a police vehicle, and I was the first time I was like, riding with the police, kind of getting a feel of the job and how it was. And basically, I was driving. I was in the other seat, and he was driving. And there was a black guy next to us driving in a really shitty car. And as soon as he looked at us, he started fidgeting around like he's hiding something. I'm like, this guy's obviously hiding something, okay? Like he's like fidgeting around like he's hiding something, like he's got drugs. And I tell the officer, like, dude, this guy's got something, okay? He's fidgeting around, he's hiding something, he's trying to evade you. He's like, oh no, dude, I can't racially profile. At that point, is that really racially profiling, or is that just looking at taking the information at hand and using it and doing what is just common sense?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So, like, if I just saw somebody, driving down the road who's not doing anything and who just looks like a normal person, whatever, I'm not gonna. I don't think we should stop them. That would be racial profiling. But if this person is trying to evade you and starting to making like he's hiding something, that's just using information at hand. That's not racial profiling. That's just being fucking intelligent.
Yeah, that's common sense.
So they can't even. So cops can't even use common sense anymore because it's considered racial profiling. And the crazy thing about it is that crime is so rampant in these types of areas that these types of areas in America, and the cops their hands are behind their back.
Well, in black communities, a black community over a white community is 35 times more violent than a white community. 35
more times. Let's just be honest.
Now think about that. So every time that a white community calls about whatever they're calling the police for, that black community is called 35 times, if they've even called, or the incident just happened without anybody blowing the whistle.
And let's just be honest, though. Let's be honest about tribalism. I saw another video of a black guy, of black men attacking a white man, and I was, when I saw, you can't even find this video anymore. I tried to look for the video, they took it down. What I saw was they basically, about 3 or 4 black guys were beating up this white guy, and they beat him unconscious. The crazy thing about it, when he was unconscious, they didn't stop beating him. They kept on beating him while he was unconscious. They actually lifted him up and started beating him while he was unconscious. And you know why they were doing this, because he was white, because they had a chance to take it out on the white man. You know what I'm saying? And they started beating him while unconscious. I mean, how more barbaric can you get to beat somebody while they're unconscious? Because you won't even leave them alone while they're unconscious.
You know what that reminds me of? I'm not sure if you and I have ever talked about this. It was prevalent about 10 years ago. It was called the knockout game.
Oh my goodness, I heard about that.
Where what black people were doing is walking down the street and some white person was standing on the corner. This was rampant in New York and this was rampant in New Jersey. And they were walking up to white people and tapping them on the shoulder. And when the white person turned around and looked, they punched them in the face as hard as they could. Hence the knockout game. If they knocked them out in the first punch, they won the game. This was going on for years. And of course, no coverage whatsoever, local or national coverage, was seen in the news. A white guy got upset over this. He decided to go out. 2 wrongs don't necessarily make a right. I get it. He goes out just to prove a point and does it, records it, posts it online. You can look this up if they still have it. It's the internet. It's floating around somewhere. And it made national news.
National news.
National news, because one white guy did it to one black guy. Everything else was negated to the fact that thousands, possibly thousands, hundreds, don't know the exact number, did this to white people. That black men were actually walking up to old white women and doing it.
And it's not part of the leftist narrative, so they just keep it out. See, the bottom line is white people suffer much more than black people suffer when it comes to interracial crime. I'm talking about the statistics I have is that 90%, 85 to 90% of interracial violence between blacks and whites, 90% of the time are blacks doing crimes on whites. Yet the media talks about the media always talks that the black people are oppressed and that we're attacking the black people and that we're the most evil people in the world. But actually, the statistics say that 90% of interracial victimizations are black on white crimes.
Well, this goes back to what you said. It doesn't fit their narratives.
And that's disgusting, and it just got to stop. It's just falsehood, and we just got to tell the truth. Look, I know, talking about race, you call us a racist, but we're just being a realist. So, this is about tribalism.
This is what Chris and I do. We always try to be as real and completely objective as we possibly can. The subjectivity needs to stop. This whole getting emotionally attached to something that you don't want to hear about. The truth is ugly. The truth is always ugly. And Chris and I, it's an underbelly, and we're exposing it. We're trying to expose it. If this wasn't going on between blacks and whites, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Exactly. And then trying to just to not talk about, trying not to talk about it and thinking everything's okay between blacks and whites really isn't. And the fact that you keep on trying to portray that nonsense, it's not, because the bottom line is with Black Lives Matter, how they defunded the police, all has done is embolden already black criminals, and they're doing massive amounts of crimes against white people and white businesses, and it's not getting media attention that it deserves. And the bottom line is we're being victimized by these bad policies and like this, and we're racist because we want to bring the truth up. The truth is the truth, man. We have the statistics, so the statistics don't lie.
Statistics. I think it's Shapiro that says facts do not care about your feelings.
Yeah,
and that is exactly how Chris and I subscribe ourselves to. If it were the other way around, we would be exposing it.
Yes. So, like I said, it's not about being racist. It's just about being truthful. And like I said, you can call me bigoted. That's fine. Whatever you want to call me. You can be a stupid leftist. That's up to you.
Well, your words are meaningless.
Yeah, they're meaningless now. I mean, the truth is the truth. And, because of this pandemic and because of defund the police and all this stuff, you can see it for yourself. all the crimes are raising between blacks and whites. You could just turn on the TV. Even the leftist people are starting to put this out there now. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, people in San Francisco are getting victimized by black crime so bad that even leftists are starting to get tired of it. I saw an article a couple of days ago that carjacking and car breaking is so bad in San Francisco that people are leaving their car doors and windows open so they don't break their windows.
Yeah, well, it was who was that actor? That stoner guy.
From the high movie. He's like he always drinks and
what
stuff.
Is it,
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. Yeah, where he tweeted that. Commented on exactly what you're saying and said, "Oh yeah, bro, like that's what happens when you're living in a big city." That's not what happens when you're living in a big city.
He said something about cool, like it's cool because they left a knife in it. It's like cool. He's saying that's cool. How could it be cool? You see, that's the problem because he's a person that has privilege, right? He doesn't have to go out there and work a normal job like we have to do. So he doesn't really care what goes on. And he's probably happy that seeing that people in misery and
making excuses for the criminal. This is what bothers me the most. I mean, I don't even know. I don't think we have enough time to talk about what bothers us the most about the left. But going on and victimizing the criminal. I have such a major problem with this.
Yeah, I was just, I'm subscribed to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They're like a leftist group that supposedly goes after like racism and white nationalism and all the stuff that they go after. And they're talking about like, illegal aliens and how the right is doing all these bad things to them. And I just said, like, what about all the people what about all the Americans that the illegal aliens murdered? They don't care about it, right? But they care more about victimizing illegal aliens than they do care about the actual Americans that were victimized by these people.
Exactly, and those that are getting victimized are not just white people.
I know, it's Americans, period. It's just like, where's your priorities, man? Are you America first, or I don't understand it. I mean, do you hate the country so bad that you side with illegal aliens over American citizens? That's how sick this country's getting.
It's bad. It's sick.
So we're talking about tribalism this time, and I'm going to show you, we're going to go over much more things about tribalism. I have a lot more for you, so stay tuned.